So if I figured out how to edit titles on YouTube, you guys are probably seeing that this is about N64 controllers. It's going to be a show-all and review of my controllers for the N64, so stay tuned.
You crazy mother...
Alright, ladies and gents, I've got, count them, 3 different variations for the N64 controllers here in my collection. So let's go ahead and take a look at them one by one.
3.
Okay, so to start off this list, we have the original controller for the N64, and this is the red variation on that. This would have come packed in with the system back in 1996, and it's got some serious upgrades from the Super Nintendo, its predecessor. Some of its features is that it includes 10 different buttons. It also has the analog stick and a directional pad. And some of what makes this controller so great is that it includes a slot for memory cards, and later on in the life cycle of the controller, you could accommodate a rumble pack to make the games feel even more realistic. It also has a Z button. This replicates a trigger pull, and it's great for shooter games and other types. And it's also one of the first controllers to add an analog stick, which was just an awesome feature and leaps and bounds ahead of the Super Nintendo controller. But not everything about this controller is great. It's got some serious flaws as well. So to start off with, this is the most natural feeling position for your hands, but the problem is that the N64 didn't have many games that utilized the D-pad. They really want to use the analog stick. Next up, this analog stick gets worn out really fast. It's due to the friction of moving it, and once it gets worn out, it stops responding correctly and it really messes up gameplay. And finally, probably its biggest downfall is this position right here is when you want to use the analog stick, and the Z button is really uncomfortable if you have a big hand. You're going to find that your hand's going to be bumping up against this other edge, and you'll feel it doesn't feel comfortable at all. But all in all, this is a great controller by Nintendo. It was leap and bounds ahead of their predecessor and other systems out there in the market. So, good on Nintendo.
2.
Okay, next on my list of controllers for the N64, I have the Superpad 64, and this is the green variation. This is an aftermarket product made for the N64 by a company called Performance. And basically you would have picked this up at GameStop in the late 90s if you didn't want to shell out the money for the original controller. Then you would have gone home, you would have started playing with it, and realized it has a boatload of issues. To start off with, it's much more thick than the original controller, and the buttons don't work nearly as well. A lot of times you'll push them down, and you have to peel them back up because they get stuck. And lastly, the D-pad is just not well designed. You push it, and it just doesn't respond like you'd like it to. One of the things they did do well on this controller, though, is they removed those areas on the original controller, and so it opens you up to playing with the analog stick in a much more comfortable manner. But it definitely doesn't make up for all of its faults, so I do not think I can recommend the Superpad 64. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll just put you over here where I'll never touch you again.
1.
Okay, so for my last style controller I have, it is the Superpad Plus. This is another aftermarket product, but it's made by a company called Interact. And you can see that their biggest design change is they remove that middle area, so you hold it naturally with 2 hands. And one of the extra benefits of that is that the D-pad and the analog stick both are in position to be easily used by your left hand at the same time. They even made the buttons a little bit bigger so you can easily make contact with the C buttons and the A and B. I think all in all, this is a great product, and Interact definitely brought their A game to this design. I bet if you have one of these controllers, you really enjoy it. And if you haven't gotten this controller, if you find it, pick it up. That's it for all the different N64 style controllers I currently have in my collection. And if you're going out and buying one soon, I hope I made your decision a little bit easier. Don't forget to come back next Tuesday for episode 3 in my series about building a video game collection from near nothingness. I already have some of the video games that I picked up earlier this week that I'm going to showcase in that episode. And I'm really excited about getting it out there to you guys. In the meantime, you can go back and watch episode 1 and 2. They'll be in the description down below. And don't forget to comment down below and let me know whether you stuck with the original N64 controller or you tried some of the other ones like the ones I showed you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate it. Actually, could you be a pal and just go ahead and do it now? I think in the meantime, I wouldn't mind eating one of these delicious Little Debbie Cosmic Brownies. The subscribe button is just down a little bit and to the left. Ooh! Alright guys, I appreciate it. Until next time, Video Game Cadet, reporting out.